Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you how to do a ASP.NET Core MVC web application. And for those of you who are a bit new to the .NET Core framework, so ASP.NET Core is first of all multi-platform or cross-platform compatible, meaning that you can install it on Windows, OS, Linux, Mac, or whatever have you, and it will run just as smooth as on Windows or Microsoft environment. And secondly, ASP.NET Core is much faster performance-wise. So Microsoft claims that it's about 10 times as fast as normal standard .NET framework. So you get a lot of improvement speed-wise as well. Okay, so in this video now specifically, I'm going to show you how to do something in MVC. And it's a bit different on MVC than in the older ASPX web forms. So for instance, when we want to have some more advanced features on the front end, on the page actually, like say for instance you want to hide and show certain sections based on a drop-down selection that the user makes, and you want to populate different sections in the form, you want to make it more interactive and user-friendly. So normally in ASPX forms you would have event-based coding, so you would trigger certain events from the front end, from the page, and it will trigger events on the code behind on the server side. So in MVC it's slightly bit more difficult if you're not used to doing it this way. So you're gonna have to write some client-side jQuery or JavaScripting client side to get the same effect. So you're not gonna write a lot of back-end code behind C# code to work with events firing on the form. It's going to be jQuery and Ajax specifically. So pay some close attention to the way we're doing it in MVC, and yeah, I'll show you how easy it is.
Okay, so this is basically the end result of today's example. So you have a web application here, done an MVC, and basically when you go to create a new record, in this case an employee, we want to create a new employee. So you'll see we have some interactive elements here on the screen. And in this example, we have a manager. We have to assign the employee to a manager or to his line manager. And when you click on the drop-down list, you get a few selections here, and you can choose which manager this employee works for. So say for instance we click on Williams, and it'll populate then this text box over here which shows the department. Okay, so when you make a different selection, it'll change the text here according to the department for that manager. Okay, and another feature here, we have an employee type, and here you can select either a contractor or permanent, and based on the selection here, say you select contractor, then we will show another section on this form, and here we have the contracting company where you can then fill in the company name. Okay, so if you select again permanent, then it will hide that section. So it's this kind of more user-friendly, rich GUI interface we want to create here, which gives you a bit more flexibility, showing, hiding certain sections, and this is what we want to achieve. Okay, so how are we going to do this? So let's close our browser over here, stop the application, and first things first, we need to create our database. So go ahead and create the database, and then I want you to add some tables. So we're going to have basically 3 tables in our database. First one is going to be the manager. So here I have a script to create this table, and we call it manager. And we have a manager ID column. The data type is int, integer, and it has an identity type, an identity specification. It means it's a primary key, and it will increment from 1 and automatically increment from there. And it also doesn't allow any null, so it's a compulsory column. We have a first name, which is type in varchar, and we give it a length of maximum, say 50. Okay, we have last name and department. Okay, and then a primary key constraint, PK underscore manager. So basically, the table has to have a primary key, and in this case, it's manager ID, and we have first name, last name, department. Okay, great. So close this one. Then we need to have a employee table. So you can give it a name employee. It has employee ID, integer. It's an identity field. It increments from 1. It doesn't allow any null values. Okay, and it's also the primary key, primary constraint there. Then you have first name, last name, city, manager ID, which of course is the manager to which this employee will report to. So we have a manager ID integer column here, which is a foreign key in our manager table. And then we have also an employee type ID, which is another foreign key, which will link to the third table we need to create here. Okay, I'm going to show you that in a moment. And then we have here contracting company, which in the case that the employee is a contractor, you need to also provide his contracting company name. Okay, so then we have a third table we're going to create, and it's called employee type. Okay, and it has a primary key of employee type ID and an employee type description field. And that's it. That's your 3 tables. Then so go to the employee type table after you created it, and select edit top 200 rows, and then you can manually just edit the data in this table and add some entries to this table. And we only need 2 values here, 2 rows here, permanent and contractor. Those are the 2 values we need here. And then go to your employees table and add some dummy data here. Add a couple of employees into your table. Actually, you should start at your manager table first, because we will require manager IDs for the employees. So first create a couple of add some persons here, which will serve as managers in this company. Okay, and fill in their department values there. So we have an IT department, retail and sales. Yes, and after that, go create some employees and link them to appropriate, or to manager ID. Okay. Employee type, you can also add some employee type ID. Okay. I've just added for some of them. Some of them are null, and that's also fine. So this makes sure you have some data in your tables. Okay. Then next we go to you're going to go to Visual Studio, and we're going to create in this case, a core, a .NET Core web application, ASP.NET Core. And just once again, ASP.NET Core has significant performance um, increase, so it performs faster than the standard .NET framework. And also it's cross-platform compatible, so it can run on Windows, Linux, Mac, and any other operating system. It doesn't have to be Microsoft Windows. Okay, so just wait until your Visual Studio. I'm using Visual Studio 2017, the latest Microsoft Visual Studio. And you're gonna go to the File menu. You can say New Project, and in the New Project dialog box, if you come up here, okay, so you're gonna select a ASP.NET Core web application instead of the .NET framework. So we're going to go with Core, and you can give it a name. I'm just going to call it here .NET MVC JQuery. Okay, so we're gonna have some jQuery and Ajax in there as well. So just adding that to the name. For example, click on OK and just give Visual Studio some time to create this solution. Okay, so make sure you select your .NET Core and not .NET Framework. And here ASP.NET Core 2.0, which is the latest ASP.NET Core. And then you can select Web Application Model View Controller. We're going to use an MVC template here. Don't click on Chain Authentication, just leave it for the default. We're not going to use authentication in this example. And go OK. And it's going to take a little while to create it for you. Okay, and then click on View Solution Explorer, because by default, to save some time, loading time, doesn't show the Solution Explorer window as in previous versions of Visual Studio. And we're going to go to the Models folder. We're going to right click, we're going to add our models first. Basically, we're going to create a class for each table that we have in our database. Okay, we're going to create the manager one first. So we're basically going to have manager, employee, and employee type. So manager is going to have exactly the same columns as in the database, sorry, the same properties, okay, as columns in your database. So you have manager ID, first name, last name, department. Okay, next you're going to add another one, add another class, and you're going to call this one employee. Okay, and we have employee ID, first name, last name, city, manager ID, employee type ID, and contracting company. Okay, and then the last one we need to create is the employee type class. Okay, and employee type is only going to have two properties as your table in the database: employee type ID and employee type description. Okay, great. So next we can go, say, right click on the controllers folder. Now we're going to add, let's just go to, sorry, we're not going to add, yes, we can add a new scaffolded item. And you're going to select MVC controller with views using entity framework. You're going to go add. And this is going to create your data context, and this is the abstraction layer that connects to your database. So we're going to select your select employee for employee models. We're going to start with this one, and click on the plus here for data context class, so that it can create one for you. And just put the employees context, add. Okay, and you can click on add at the bottom, and this will do some scaffolding. So it's gonna, in the background, it's basically going to create a controller, which is your server-side code, C# code. It's also going to create views, which is your pages on your website, web page, in your web application. So yeah, it creates your controller, and it's going to create your view pages. Everything for you. It will do the scaffolding.
Okay, right, so here it has created the employees controller for us. You see here it added this controller in the controllers folder, and it's created a lot of code generated. It has generated for us. It's got the employees context, and if we go there, just right click and say, or F12, so go to definition, you'll see that it's actually created a database, a DB context class, which is the connection to our database. And it has here a DB set. The DB set corresponds to a table in your database. Okay, we have only employee here. We can just manually add the others. So you can just basically copy it here. DB set. Let's just make a copy here. It's going to be faster. Manager. Okay, and this refers to models. The models we created, the employee manager and employee type. Call this manager. Okay, and then create another one for employee type. Okay, employee type, there we go. We have 3 DB sets or tables. And then you also need to go to your app settings.json file here in your Solution Explorer. Double click on it, and you need to basically edit this string here, which is the connection to your database, the connection string. Okay, and basically it's to say your the server name of the database, username and password if you're using SQL Server authentication, user ID and a password value, or you can just, if you have mixed authentication, Windows and SQL Server, you can just basically type in there integrated security equals true. Okay, so that will take your Windows logon and it will connect you to your database. Okay, so you have your server name, database name, and integrated security equals true. Or you have to type in the user ID and password. Okay, so once that is done, we can go into our employees controller, and now we're going to add some code here to wire up our on the page the drop down boxes we're going to need, as I've shown you in what this application can do. So we're going to go to scroll down and look for the create section here. Okay, now this refers to our create view. You'll see that scaffold that it has created automatically a few views for us here. It added an employees folder, has a create, delete, details, edit, and index. Okay, index is of course where it shows you all of the data in our table. It's all auto-generated, so you don't have to change anything there. But we're all going to alter the create view here, okay, to add the drop-down lists and show and hide sections on the form. So first of all, employees controller, you're going to go to the public high action result create. So this in the controller is going to fire this code when you click on the create new record link on the view. Okay, this is your get. You get a get and a post, HTTP get, HTTP post. Post is when you save the newly created record to the database. So we're going to add some code here to the create, to the get, the HTTP get. Okay, I'm just going to grab the code from here, from the sample application I've already created. This is just to show you that you can follow the code as we created here, line by line. So we have viewback.managerID, okay, equals new select list. Use every time you want to add a drop-down list to a form by the database context clause here, and the object. You see here it comes up in IntelliSense manager. We have manager, employee, and employee type. So manager, and you need to type in here the parameter here is the sorry, there we go. It's the data value field and the data text field. So the value is the manager ID, which binds to our binds the drop-down list to the manager ID field, but we are displaying the last name. Okay, we're not displaying the ID, we're displaying the last name. Then also we have a viewback.employee type ID, and then the select list, and this is for the employee type, and we bind to the employee type ID, and we display the employee type description here. Right, so then we go into the actual view. You're going to go here in the right hand side in your Solution Explorer, double click on the create.cshtml, and we're going to alter some of the code here. So I'm just going to grab it from my example that I've already completed, so you can follow along with me. Okay, so you're going to have your drop-down list. I'll go through the code now and explain to you what it does. So first of all, you go to you can search and find for manager ID. Okay, so now we don't want to display the manager ID. We want a drop-down list containing managers that you can select to assign to this employee. Okay, so you're going to say your html.dropdownlist, and you're going to put in manager ID. Okay, in quotes, null. We pass the null as that parameter, and here we pass in a select in quotes, which is going to be the default item in the drop-down list. It's going to be select at index 0. Okay, and we pass in their HTML attributes. We just assign it a CSS class that we have in our style sheet, form control, and let's just give it standard styling for a drop-down list. Okay, so we have the manager ID and select for the default value of the drop-down list box. Okay, then we're also going to have your department. Department and employee type, and we also want contracting company. So right here we have okay, so here from employee type ID, contracting company, let's just replace this code. So here what you need is, okay, department, just a label, and then we have here we're going to change it to a input type text, and we're going to give it the ID of txt department, and this is important. So you're going to refer in your jQuery, in your JavaScript, to this element txt department. And make it read-only and disabled because we don't want the user to be able to manually type in there. We want to auto-populate it based on the manager that is selected and the department to which the manager belongs. Remember, every manager has a department that he belongs to, and you want to select the manager in the drop-down list and auto-populate the department text box. So you need an input type text here. That's very important. Okay, then if you scroll down a little bit, now we have employee type. Okay, we have another HTML.dropdown list. In quotes, employee type ID. That's very important. Now this employee type ID, as well as the manager ID in the dropdown list, will correspond to the employee's controller to what we've just created. These two viewbacks, viewback.manager_id and viewback.employee_type_id. We have those two select list. So it must correspond to this name of this drop-down list, okay? Employee type ID and manager ID. Okay, so and that's to get to turn them into drop-down lists on your page. Okay, then if you scroll a little bit more down, you can just get it that you can see all the code in one view. Okay, then we have here you need to create a div a div node here in the HTML. Give it the ID, give it a value of contracting company. That's important. You're going to refer to this in the jQuery, your JavaScript. Okay, and you have a HTML.editor for model.contracting company. So this model here refers to the, you'll see the employee model. Okay, the employee model class that you created. So it's contracting company. Right, and this div has an ID, a value of contracting company. Okay, right, so now let's go and grab that code. So I'm going to go through this code with you. You're going to have to write some script here. So first of all, I'm just going to copy this here. So you need to scroll down in this view, the create.cs HTML, to where you see a section called scripts. Okay, and right inside it, after this bracket which you see is highlighted in yellow, and you're going to type out your script here. Okay, didn't copy correctly, so let's just try again to copy this. Okay, before that, actually, you need to create a script node here. Okay, script, opening tag and a closing tag. And inside of this script, these script tags, you're gonna put in your JavaScript. So we have here dollar, and you have to use the dollar sign everywhere you write the code in the script. Dollar document.ready. So on the ready function, so when this document is ready, when it has loaded onto the client, onto the browser, it's going to fire the code that you write here. Okay, so you're going to create a hide contracting company function. Okay, you're going to call it. So we have here, so function hide contracting company. Okay, here we have hashtag contracting company dot hide. Now contracting company here, if you search for it in this document, okay, you can find it here. So it is the ID value of this div, contracting company. So by giving an ID, you can refer to this div and you can show it and hide it as you please, as you want. So what we've done here is we've said contracting company dot hide. So initially we want to hide it. We don't want to show that that section on the form when this page fires up. Okay, and we call it by name, hide contracting company, open bracket, close bracket. So okay, here we go. So that's that function. It will actually hide that div, that section on the form. Then we have another function we call it show contracting company, and it will just show it. Okay, so we're going to call that from another jQuery function. Okay, so the next one we want here is a function called populate department. Okay, now this is Ajax, which is a way of asynchronously executing code on the server side, in your server side C# code in your controller, in the employee's controller. Okay, so and basically you can just copy this code. You can pause the video and type it out. This is pretty standard for all Ajax functions. So we call this function populate department, and we're going to call it from another place in the code. So we have the type must be post because we are posting data back. We're not Okay, then the URL you need to fill in here /employees/Ajax get department. Now employees refers to the name of the controller. We have an employees controller, so it needs to know where. So basically what's going to happen is this code is going to fire code in your controller. So it needs to know which controller, and it's the employees controller, and then /Ajax get department. This is the name that we're going to give the function in our controller, our C# function. Okay, so it knows where to go and execute which code. Okay, so this is important. Then data, this is the parameters or the arguments we pass in that we need to pass to that function in our employees controller. And we're going to pass it #manager ID, the value dot val. You see here, we're going to pass it the value of the manager ID tag. And manager ID, of course, is this one in our CSHTML manager ID, and this drop-down list. So the manager of whichever manager ID the user has selected in this drop-down list, okay, it's going to send that value, that ID, as a parameter, okay, the manager ID value. Okay, the rest is all standard. Content type, application, JSON. Okay, JSON is an object notation language or format, so it's going to send, it's going to receive back JSON object, which you need to deserialize. Okay, so success. So if the function executes successfully, we pass it a JSON value here in the parameter. Now this is different for ASPX. For .NET Framework ASP.NET MVC. In ASP.NET Core, we have here ASP.NET Core application. Okay, and so you have to send JSON data to the function. So if it's successful, it will return a result. So and then we want to populate the txt department, the input that we created, input type. Where is that? Right over here. So txt department. It's going to populate this text box with the value it's getting back from that function in your controller. So it's going to set its value to whatever this result it's getting back in this JSON variable. Okay, so if it's failure, if there's a fail, if it fails, you're going to send an alert message to the browsers which says error, and it's going to populate the txt department text box with a value of max selection. Okay, same here, if there's a general error occurring, we're just going to set it to that value. Okay, so let's then go to further down on this page in the script. You're also going to have a another function here, which is going to fire on the .change event of employee type ID. Now this is when the user selects an employee type in the drop-down list. Okay, so when it changes, when the value of that employee type drop-down list changes, it's going to function this. It's going to execute this code. So it happens on the .change event, and it's going to check if the value equals to 2. Then it's going to show the contracting company text box. Otherwise, it's going to hide it. Okay, so it's checking to see if the value of employee type ID is equal to 2. And 2 in our database, if we go and look at the data employee type, value is here. 2 means it's a contractor, 1 means it's permanent. So if it's a contractor, we want to show the contracting company text box, and the user can type in the name of the contracting company. If it's not, so if it's not a contractor, if it's a permanent employee, it's going to hide that field. Okay, then we have another $manager ID change. So this is on the manager drop-down list. If it changes, if the user selects a different value, it's going to fire this event, and it's going to call the populate department function. Populate department. Okay, populate department. We to store right that code. I'm just going to check here. Where did I create? Okay, right. Yes. So we already have it here. Popular department. Okay, so it's going to call this function, which executes that Ajax get department function in our controller, and it's going to populate the department with the appropriate data. So let's go to the employees controller and let's create that function. So I've already created it in this project, so I'm just going to grab that code quickly and explain to you how it's doing that. So in our employees controller, create a function and give it an annotation of HTTP post to indicate that this happens on a post event. Okay, it's going to return a JSON result. That's important. There's name Ajax get department, and this is very important. So this you need to do in ASP.NET Core MVC. You will see that it's different from the normal ASP.NET MVC, normal framework, but in the .NET Core framework, you have to pass it like this. You have to give it a DTO object. Okay, you have to use the from body, that tag over there, to extract the data from the view. Okay, so DTO, we need to create that. So we're going to go to our Solution Explorer and go to the Models folder and create the DTO class. Go to the class, DTO, and public class, and it's just going to have a public property data part int. And we're going to call it ID, so it's just going to have a ID. Okay, right, so now we have the DTO there. Now, in this function, we're going to use the view data session, which is almost like a session in ASPX forms. We're going to give it a name manager department. Okay, view data manager department, and we're going to write some link here to extract the correct data. So from, and we just give it a variable here, USR in underscore context. This is your context, employees context. Here at the top of your controller, okay, employees context. So where the manager ID equals data.id, okay, this is the parameter that comes in the argument, and select that specific department dot to list. Okay, first or default. Okay, so that's basically the query that you need to extract that specific manager based on its ID. You're going to extract it from your database. It's going to return the department for that manager. Okay, we need another model here, department model, which we're going to store the data in. So we're going to need to create another class called department model. So let's go and Solution Explorer, models, right click, add class. Department, call it department model, click on add. Okay, and it only needs a department public string property. Okay, so we're going to say department model. We're just going to create a new instance, okay, and assign this view data, this value that we get back from the link query. We're going to assign that department value to department models department property, and we're going to say return JSON. It has to return JSON values, JSON data. It's going to return this value, this view data session here. Okay, and in that way we return it to the view for us to get a value back here and assign it to the txt department text box. Okay, so let's see how that works. Click on play or run, and it's going to fire up. Usually, it's going to fire up your internet browser whether it be IE or Chrome. It's running it via iOS Express, which is automatically comes with Visual Studio. So let's just see if we fire it up. Okay, so let's just click on our contact link there. Okay, this is working. So let's type in the URL here, employees index, and there we go. It shows all our data in the table. And let's click on the create new link. Let's put in a name here. Put in some dummy data. And now select a manager in the drop-down. You will see it's a drop-down list, and it will have the surnames, last names there for people, and the department will change based on the selection. Let's select here contractor, and this contracting company text box appears or it disappears based on the selection. Okay, and it's put in a value here of the company, and let's click on create button, and it would have created that record for us, and there we go. And that's basically it, as easy as that.